It's Thursday, July 17, 2025, and I realize video starting this week on Thursday, and this actually might be the only day I do content this week. This is the time of year when there's a little bit less bee stuff to do, so for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, the second, third, fourth week of July in there, is the honey supers are on. So there's not a lot of brood chamber work to do. So, and the mite treatments are done, all that sort of thing. And so we're just adding supers, checking them. I have a little bit of work to do here because I'm trying to make this comb honey and I'm trying to get these colonies up and running. As you can see, there's still singles here. I've had some queen problems. So I've had lots of queen problems here. So I've been trying to solve those. I have plenty of queens at home, so I'm really trying to get these to get going instead of moving nukes in and stuff. This is a yard. This is a yard that I've set up this year to remove or reduce anyway variables, and because I have been struggling the last few years, and so this yard has been all but separate completely from the rest of my operation. The only things that have been brought to this yard are, of course, pallets, lids, boxes, and I brought comb. I brought freshly drawn honeycomb from last season. So if there was any pathogens or anything in that comb, in the brood chambers, in the home yard, then hopefully, that's mitigated here in this nice fresh white honeycomb that was drawn last summer. Now, having said that, of course, this week, like I say, this is kind of the summer lull, and some Canadian beekeepers who blog actually take a week off and go to the lake and have fun with the boat and the family. This Canadian beekeeper doesn't do that. I get all the rest of my work kind of caught up around the house, around the yard. So I have been doing a lot of bee related stuff. I started rebuilding a deck here last week. So anyway, what I'm going to do here today, what I haven't been videoing a lot of stuff out of this yard, so I'll catch up. In order to get these colonies kind of jump started, the honey flow this year is terrible here for me, and to get these kind of jump started, I've got those, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've got those frames that have 2 pieces of foundation on the outside and then a blank in the middle. I want to get those drawn. So what I did when I was here last time, and I don't remember what day that was, but it was a while ago, it was a good week ago, is I put a bunch of those in the brood chamber because when it's warm weather, they can tolerate that kind of stuff. And in the brood chamber, they'll draw it a lot faster. So what I want to do here now is get that stuff out of the brood chamber, back in the honey super, replace it with some drawn comb. And I was actually able to pull some drawn comb or some honey frames from the brood chamber. I've never fed this yard syrup or anything. I've fed this yard fondant, but that doesn't end up in the honeycomb. As far as I know, it doesn't end up in the honey frames. So I pulled some honey frames up into the supers so that I can extract that honey, replace it with drawn comb, or the honeycomb frames that I'm trying to get drawn. So hopefully they've drawn those. I can draw those back up into the honey supers, and I'm thinking I might have to end up adding a couple boxes here, but we'll figure that out as we go along. I've got my queen excluders ready here. Got my queen excluders ready, and even those are brand new queen excluders. They've never been used, so they shouldn't be cross-contaminating anything. I guess one more thing I see is the foamies that I put onto the lids. Those weren't new either, so there's a little bit of cross-contamination, but I'm not like I'm dealing with a huge infection or anything like that. I'm just trying to kind of start from scratch. My first couple of years was really good. I had healthy bees. The bees were doing great. I just wanted to try and get back to that. And so that's kind of why this is kind of a fresh start for me, just to see what's going on, and can this yard be that fresh start for me. Because if this yard is a good fresh start, I'm considering even wintering here. I haven't decided for sure, but I'm considering it. And if I can, then this yard could be a fresh start for more splits and stuff to go back to the home yard and give it a more of a fresh start. So I'm almost grasping at straws, but I'm trying to reduce variables. That's why I'm not using any supplements. I did try some Hive Alive earlier on a few colonies back home, but that's really all I've done. And I'm not using any. I'm using pollen patties and stuff, which is normal, but I'm not trying anything else. I'm just going back to the basics. I did use that fondant here, but it's just fondant, right? It's not an additive. It's not, in my impression anyway. So I suppose I'm talking myself out of what I'm actually trying to accomplish here, but that's anyway. Let's get into these, and we got some queens to check. I've got queens that I put into these, so we got to check them, make sure they got out of their cages, and then check these brood chambers for getting those comb honey frames out of there. Thanks for watching. This frame here is an example of what I've started all these colonies on. Nice fresh honeycomb that was drawn last summer. Now this colony, I think it has a good laying queen that I raised this summer. So I'll just do a general checkup on them. And if they're starting to fill up, then I can add a box to it, right? Hopefully they start to fill up. They seem a little bit too animated at this point. I'm not confident. Of course, I can't do that kind of thing. So they've made a little bit of honey here. I've been managing these frames a lot, moving honey frames out, moving frames they've started, turning frames around. Just want to make sure she's laying, and I want to make sure she's got space. So one of the things I'm looking for is these empty cells. Are they backfilling these? Well, they're filling here, but I don't see backfilling in the center. There's a little bit of backfilling in the center. This looks like a really good start. Look at all the brood. We'll count how many frames of brood we have here. This new comb is just beautiful. And that's laid up. I don't know if you can see the eggs and larvae in there, but that is full. And again, I've moved a lot of frames, so I think I put this frame in here as an empty frame not long ago, because there's another sealed frame here. But you see how that honey dome is getting right down there? That's almost textbook, isn't it? You've got the honey dome, you've got a ring of pollen, and they'll consume that pollen ASAP, and then you've got brood. This was a little bit ago because it's all sealed brood. But the next one, again, I think I put this in here as an empty, and she's completely filled it with eggs already. It's beautiful, beautiful. That's all filled as well. Yeah, really nice. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Here's another one, and she's got those empty cells filled with eggs, and this is getting into nectar again. Okay, so these frames here, if I were to add a box, these frames I can take up into the second box because they are honey. And this one is empty. So I'm going to move this empty one closer to the brood nest. I'm actually going to put it in the brood nest. I hope Ian's not watching. He doesn't like it when I do this. Put that in there. That's a kind of a honey frame. I don't want to put a second box on too early. But I'm just wondering, I do want to make sure she always has space. So what I'm going to do, I'll take this frame away. I'll put this empty one in there. And that'll give them a little bit of space without having to add a second box right now. Partly because I didn't bring extra boxes for them. I've got 4 boxes, so I could probably add a box, but I don't want to yet. I'll let them fill that. I'll put this other frame somewhere else. And so we've seen that queen is laying really well. And that's all I need to know. Okay, so that's a queen from my queen rearing this year. This is one of the original package queens from this spring. So she's done really well. Look how good the population is. I didn't start my smoker yet, so I might regret that. You can see that I think I'm going to have to do that. They're starting to bang my hands. Quite animated. Okay. I'll just give them a little something to think about. Give the guard bees something to think about. And get back to work. So this one is mostly empty. A little bit of nectar up here. And I really don't need to go through this honey super, but I've been intensively managing these in order to get comb drawn and honey stored away. So this was obviously, last time I was here, this was a brood frame I moved up. So that's emerging and they're completely backfilling that. And I put this one between 2 brood frames and they drew it nicely. So now they're drawing that comb honey in the center that I want. So that's exactly what I want to see there. Now, I just discovered something. I've always had a hard time getting them to draw the foundationless comb frames. I know a lot of people use foundation in their comb, or cut comb people call it, but I don't. Mine's completely foundationless. So it's difficult to get them made to draw it straight, and it's difficult to get them to draw it the right thickness. Because if you put a foundationless frame between 2 drawn frames, they'll start filling the drawn frames with honey and they'll build them out, and then the foundationless one is really thin, if at all. But here, I know that I've known this principle for 10 years and the light bulb just went on. So here, I've got a brood frame. And the difference between honey frames, honey cells, and brood cells is brood cells are always the same depth. Honey cells are as deep as the space allows. So that's the key. Put that foundationless between 2 brood frames. And it can be eggs. It doesn't have to be sealed brood because they're not going to make that brood frame any deeper. I just realized that. See, we're always learning, aren't we? And here I've got another one of my comb frames. And when you put foundationless, or you put foundation even between brood frames, they jump on it right away because they don't like to have empty space in there. And see, I'm getting honey in my nice, look at the size of those cells, they're huge. My nice comb honey frame. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different because it has a little bit of brood there, but it's honey, so they're going to build this out before the foundationless is complete. But that's going to be a nice frame of honey too. So I've got this one. This one isn't being drawn yet. Can I do something with it? I'm going to set that aside, actually. See, again, I need to make sure they have space. Foundation is not space. Comb is space. Foundation is not. So let's... I don't want to mess it up. Let's take this one and put it between these two. And I'll take this one and put it between these two. So this colony could use a box. So I'll come back soon with a box. Because it looks like the honey flow might have appeared again. They cut the hayfield nearby, and I think that really stifled my honey flow. But down here, I need to find if there's any comb honey frames in the brood chamber, which I can see there are. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's make sure they have lots to think about. I miss working bees. I haven't been working bees lately. It's kind of fun. Okay, so this is mostly empty, as is this one. Ho ho ho. Look what I see. I hope she hasn't laid in it. They built that. Yeah, she laid a little bit in there. It's drones though. That's the danger. I was a little too late. I'll move it up anyway. So she's laying in there really nice. They're kind of packing out the pollen. They're really active. They're really roaring. But they aren't queenless. That one might just turn into a drone frame for them because they're really wanting drones. They're building drones at the bottom. I meant to come here a little bit sooner. These are the Italian buckfasts. They were marked when I got them. So this one they're not quite as far along with. And so I think I can take it. Yeah, she's laid eggs in that too. That whole thing is eggs. The whole thing here is eggs. It's young larvae there. I think I'll take it anyway. Just want to make sure I don't move the queen up. That's well, I was going to say it's an empty frame. It's not quite empty. Neither is that one. Got a box of empty frames I'm sitting on. So. Voila, empty frame. There's the queen. Wandering around. She's probably laying eggs in my comb honey frame. So let's see if we can pick her up. And we'll do it left-handed. I know something you do not know. I'm not left-handed. And there's a nice brood frame. It's beautiful. Look at how beautiful that is. This new comb, you know, the first round or two they lay in it, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Okay. Now, what am I going to do with this? I could put another frame in that. I just got stung under the arm. Holy cow. That really tender skin under the arm. Okay, she's the one to lay, so I'm going to give her that one to lay in. That really hurts under the arm. Holy. That's a honey frame. I can move that up, but where would I put it? Maybe I'll have to put another box on this one. Huh. That's kind of funny. Yeah, let's put another box on this one. They seem to be doing well. The flow seems to be back. Hallelujah. The ditches are full of sweet clover here. I've got 2 more of my comb frames. Okay, looks like that's kind of a star performer. And I have previously noted that with a star. So, gold star, awesome. That's what I want to see. I apologize if my framing gets a little bit off. I'm still accepting applications for a full-time videographer who works for nothing. Okay, so this is another queen that I raised this summer. And this looks really nice. See how they're building out the comb, building out the honey, the wax that I gave them. I've waxed these frames, and that is all they've done. They've pulled the wax out that I gave them. That's what you want. Okay, now you're getting a little bit off script here with this. I don't know if I can convince them to play the game by my rules or not. There's some ash on my hive tool, and I got that on the wax now. That's not good. They won't clean up honeycomb. I learned that years ago. They'll clean brood comb, but if there's stuff in the honeycomb, they won't clean it up. They'll just store the honey in it. Okay. Now, this is the season's first fatty. Look at this fatty here. Holy smokes. It's right full of honey. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to move that to the outside. So I was talking about them building the comb out too far. If once the honey frame is capped, then they won't build it out. You could put foundationless between, but my honey flow is not long enough for me to be able to do that many manipulations. So by the time the honeycomb is capped, look at that. That is absolutely on script right there. Thank you so much. That is exactly how I envisioned this working. I don't know why they did this, but I guess I expected them to start in the center, but it kind of worked the other way around, which is fine, as long as it works. Okay, so there's what was a brood frame. And again, it's a brood frame from this yard. It didn't come from the other yard. Yeah, this box is full too. So here's another one they've built nicely. But there's a little bit of a difficulty here. They've built this honey frame out a long ways on both sides. This side and that side. It's a nice fatty, but they've built the comb out. They've started on this fairly nicely. I think what I'm going to do, I'll put that on the end. Oh, that's heavy. That one frame is probably 6 pounds. Put that on the end. And this one's starting to cap. I'll put that next to it. And then slide this one over there. Put one in the middle here. I think this will probably work. Now, I've taken a frame out. This is 9 frames now because I've got these 2 fatties here that aren't spacing right. But this is good. This is going to work. Now, I need to look in a brood chamber because there's probably going to be comb honey frames down there. Okay, it's going to be heavy. Well, that's not bad. It's probably 40 pounds or so. When you have to move it away from your body, that's when it gets kind of heavy. Okay, so I've got a couple here, 3 actually. I think I'm going to have to come back with more frames. Oh boy. Oh, that's a beauty. Oh, that's a beauty. Right full of eggs, young larvae. This queen should be marked. That's pollen packed, but it's got eggs in the empty cells. And this probably would have been a frame I put in here empty. She laid that probably in a day. Okay, first comb frame. Trouble is, they've drawn it nicely, but she's probably laid it up with drones. There's worker eggs on the sides. So I'll move this up, but I need to find the queen. I'll shake this off in the meantime, in case she's on it. Same thing, drawn it nicely, but probably laid in it as well. I kind of meant to get back here a bit earlier. That's right, full of honey. Oh, a little stingy here. Wow. This smoker is a nice big smoker. The orifice is smaller than the Dadant smoker. So the smoke actually comes out in a nice shot. It's far easier to squeeze too. I'm going to take this one out as well. Yeah, they're not liking this at all. They are not liking this. I don't blame them. I can feel the wind on my leg. The little guys really move some air when they get together on it. I can see I'll need a lot more comb in this yard. I'll do what I can. This is risky. This is a really good way to kill your queen. Anytime you enter a hive, no matter what you do, you risk the queen, but this is just mayhem. It's not really very good. All right, get that honey box back on there. I wish I'd have shown up here a couple of days ago before she laid in those frames. Wow. This is a gold star here. So that means I might need another box on this one too. I think I will, by the look of that. I only brought 4 boxes with me. I'll need a lot more. See, they've drawn that out to the extent of the available wax. And they've started to put honey in that. It's very nice. Yeah, they're on script there. But again, I've got a fatty here, so they're kind of getting disrupted. So I'm going to move that to the outside. Well, it does have It does have brood, so they're not going to build. They're building this side out. Put the brood. I shouldn't put brood on the outside, but I'm going to. It's just it's warmer on the inside, is why I say that. So this is looking nice. You got two different ideas going here, but we'll give another few days and we'll see what they come up with. So that's brood, that's brood. That's perfect. It's coming along. Okay, I think I'll leave that box as is. But I need to look in the bottom now. I got bees everywhere. Oh dear. There's a fat honey frame here. So there's a few drones in the middle. My queen is right there. She looks really nice. I think these are discs that they glued to them, they're not just paint. That's kind of nice. It stands out, very uniform, and I think it lasts a long time. I should see if I can get into that. A little bit in the shade here. So those drones, seeing drone cells in the middle of a frame like that just kind of raises a little bit of a flag for me. There's different reasons for them to do that. Maybe it's misshapen comb. For some reason, those cells were larger. So she'll go ahead and lay drones in that. But maybe there's something wrong with the queen. Sometimes a queen will have a problem, a physical problem, and she'll lay drones intermittently. I don't really see, she's laying drones on the bottom. They've got that comb built on the bottom. There should be story frames in here. I should be leaving one of my honeycomb frames in this. Look at that. That's just beautiful. That's obviously an empty I left in here last time around. A new comb. It's beautiful. These colonies, these are going to really explode over the next 2 weeks. Yeah, they've got it going on. So again, I'm not seeing patches of drones. So I'm not suspecting a queen problem just because I saw that one frame. It was probably a frame problem. That's why I like to have my drones in one place, a story frame, that kind of thing, because it's predictable. It allows me to predict what's going on. I'd love to take that. I could. It's full of pollen. Take it, just move it up in the honey box. I can move this up. And I know where the queen is, so I don't need to shake these off. So I'll put two new frames in here. I think she was on this one, wasn't she? That one right here. This one can use another honey box, but I'll need to bring some honey boxes back with me later. So I'll just mark it. I'll put an S on it for super. Super that one. Now, this says this has the original queen, but I'm sure it doesn't. Remember a while ago, I actually made some splits in this yard. It might be why the bees are lagging so badly. Because some of the queens failed. I didn't want to bring resources from the other yard, as I explained earlier. So I gathered up some brood from here and made some splits. And so these really didn't start off life as a very strong unit. A couple frames of brood. Bees. I'll just take the empties out to start with. So she should be laying by now. I see the cage there. Oh yeah, young larva, beautiful. That's really all I need to see. I'll take that cage. There's a bee walking around in it. Yeah, so that's all I need to see. It looks like she's laying nicely. I will, again, hope Ian's not watching. I give her these empties in, not right in the center, but oh yeah, slab of brood here. You put empties in the middle, they just jump on them right away. I think she's doing okay. Gee, son of a gun. All right. Frame, but it's also a really nice brood frame. Okay, what do I got? One. Okay, we'll put this one back in here. Let's see. Let's put it right in here. And I think I'll add a second to this when I come back. And it'll be a second brood chamber for, gee, it's the 17th of July. It'll be a second brood chamber for about a week. Let her lay in it. Then I'll come back, make sure she's in the bottom, slide a queen excluder in, and let that run as a honey super. Okay, so this is this might be an unmarked queen. This is my second attempt at requeening some of these, and it looks like it took this time. So same drill. Check these. So they're starting a lobe in the center on that one. It's kind of strange that they would do things differently in different hives. Put the honey frames on the outside. There's some brood here. So that would make a really good one to flank. That's brood, and that's brood. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to put that there, and I'll put this one right between those two brood frames. And that's eggs and young larvae. Well, not so much eggs, very young larvae. So it's going to be there a while. And that's eggs. That's eggs. Why is that eggs? Okay, I might have a problem here. I might have a queen in the second box. These queens were not marked. And that's why my pen is in my pocket. Yeah, why are there eggs there? I haven't been here for more than 4 days. So it really looks like the queen's up here. Being an unmarked queen, I may have missed her. What I like about beekeeping is that the whole thing is a mystery, you know? Just like a mystery to be solved. Wow, you see where the bees are not? All of this area, that's all eggs. That's incredible. There she is. She's right there, just ripe for the picking. Ripe for the picking. Okay, you just settle down. Settle down. Get your legs. That's a nice wet paint nib. Now we need to get her in the bottom box. Can I walk her in the front door? Well, I just did. I don't know if I can or not, but I just did. All right. So this is great with this brood up here. That's the perfect flank for my honeycomb frames. Oh yeah, that mistake worked out. That worked out. See, I'm learning things. Now, there might be... I hope they didn't kill that queen that just walked through the front door. There might be honeycomb frames down here, which I know there are. There's 3 of them. Maybe not. That's not one. That's one. See, because the queen's not been laying down here, they've not been drawing the honeycomb out very well. I'm going to move the queen again. That would suck. So I'm going to just put new drawn frames in here. See, we've got some cells going on. Now, I wouldn't think they'd be getting an idea to swarm, would you? But I'd better check them. I wish I knew where that queen was. She should have places to lay now. She hasn't been laying in here for, oh, I don't know. I'm going to say at least a week, because there's no open brood. Look at this. Another one that empty that I put in here. Okay. Well, the last one, I better look at it. All right. These nibs on the top bars, I don't like them. They can kill the bees, they can kill your queen too when you slide your frames together. Glad I got to mark that queen. I'm glad I found her. Button it up. This one could probably get a super 2, I'm thinking. So here's a situation. I've got these frames sitting here, black foundation frames sitting in the sun. And today's not an extremely hot day, but the sun is still warm. I've found that if you leave the black foundation frames in the sun, they'll melt off in short order, and they could actually warp pretty quickly. So there's a tip for you if you're using black foundation. I've never found a problem with the yellow. However, I don't use it very much, so can't really comment. I don't anticipate that it's as much of a problem. I have used it, so. Okay, so this is another one. I added a queen. The cage is still there. So this one definitely is not going to need anything from me. I just want to give a little checkup. That's a honey frame. It looks like she's doing just fine. So she's been in here a little while. There's some cells at the bottom. Why would they have that? That's kind of goofy. I thought I saw a big black queen just then. She should be marked, so shouldn't be hard to see. I hope she's laying and that wasn't just brood from when I made up the nuke. Put these queens in here a week ago or more. Yeah, they're just filling this with honey. There's nothing else going on. Oh boy. Come on. What are you doing? Why won't you take my queen? So what do? Bring another queen? Still some brood here. Lovely brood frame. It's going to be gone soon though. Get that more in the middle. Well, I went from a high to a low. This one will get it's got a Q and it'll get an L for queenless. Okay, this one has a question mark on it. The trouble is, I don't know what the question is. The question is probably, does it have a laying queen? Usually that's the question, right? And some people give me heck for not keeping better notes. But you know what? I don't care. I think people who keep really good notes on their colonies are to be admired. And I think it's a really good idea. Especially if you're a new beekeeper. I manage too many colonies to get too detailed with every hive. And this yard is an anomaly. Okay, so there's sealed brood here. Because there's too many different stories going on in this yard. So this is kind of the question. There's a lot of drones here. A lot of drone cells. And just sort of scattered around. I don't think we have a queen. She might be in the second box. We know that can happen, right? But I don't think we have a queen in the bottom box. Lots of queens at home. If we don't have a queen, we'll go get one. We need one for the neighbor here anyway, right? No. So you may be thinking, well, it might be laying workers. Yeah, it might be laying workers, but it's not. And the reason I know it's not is because I see both worker brood and drone brood. And what that tells me is there was a queen who laid an egg less than 3 weeks ago in this hive. And I know that a hive must be queenless for about 3 weeks before you end up with laying workers. See, there's worker brood, there's drone brood, and there's worker brood. So this is something wrong with the queen. And I'm thinking that the queen is gone by now. So what I could do is I advised somebody on a forum recently, and I just thought of putting the advice in this way. New beekeeper, and they were asking just that question. Well, I don't know if I have a queen. You know, big long story, of course, and come down to I don't know if I have a queen. So what I said was, I said, ask the bees if you have a queen. Ask the bees if they have a queen. Right? The bees know. So ask them. And I thought, well, that's going to be kind of a weird thing to say to a beekeeper. A new beekeeper particularly. They might think I'm just crazy. Which I don't think they'd be completely off on that assessment. But so what I said was, your question to the bees will take the form of a frame of eggs, ideally a frame of eggs. You give them a frame of eggs, and you come back in 7 days, and you see if they have built cells. Whether or not they build cells is the answer to the question. So the question is the frame of eggs. The answer is the emergency cells that they may or may not build. If they're building cells, they have no queen. If they are not building cells, they have a queen. Or at least they think they do. If they're laying workers, they also can think they have a queen. If they have a virgin queen, they can think they have a queen. So it's not that if you have a queen doesn't mean you have a perfectly fine laying queen. Okay, well, I need to fill this up. And I might come back to it if I find a question frame in the apiary here. If I find a question frame, which means a frame of eggs, a frame with eggs on it is best. Because if you've got eggs on it, generally it's got young larvae too. So we will leave them with a question frame. And again, maybe my queen is in here. I need to check that box yet. So let's do that. It's a nice honey box. That's a nice honey frame right there. Wow. Okay. I need to prop these lids open because they get to have drones in the honey box. They can't get out. I just propped the lid open a little crack last year and that alleviated that issue. Okay, I can't tip that one that direction. And there's my queen right there. So I answered the question, right? And there's a whole bunch of brood in here. So there we go. Question answered. Now I have to get her. You know what? I think I can just walk her in the bottom door, the front door, just like the other one. Where did she go? There she is. Can't really lay it down very easily. She suspects something. Okay, turn the other way. No, don't go that way. Okay. She's nice and long and she's a little skinny though. Okay, don't kill the queen. There's a queen cell here, oddly enough. Okay, looks like I better look through this. Yeah, I don't know. They've got cells here, so maybe they're trying to overthrow the queen because they know there's something wrong with her. So maybe what I'll do is I'll bring a queen back here with them. I think maybe I should have killed that queen instead of putting her back in. See, they've got cells built all over the place. I could let that go. That's fine. That, you know, you could let that play out. However, again, it's the 17th of July. And I don't want to wait until the 17th of, or at least middle of August for that queen to mate and start laying. So I'd rather give them a queen that I already have. It's already laying. I can already see their pattern. Okay. Oh, look at this. Look at that nice frame. Has she laid eggs in it? I don't know. I don't see eggs. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted. That is on script right there. Yeah, see, there's drone cells everywhere. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so we will replace that queen. Queenless colonies still going to make honey though. They'll make honey, they'll collect pollen. So that's another failure. That I think is the 8th failure out of those 16 original Italian Buckfast queens that I bought. In the packages. So my note on here is RQ, requeen. So that means I need to find the queen. Queenless one, yeah, you put a queen in there. This one I have to find the queen.